I taught my son a lesson and threw him out after he said household chores are a woman's job. My son Lucas was always a good kid. I raised him by myself after his mom left when he was 8, and honestly, he made it pretty easy for me. But when he turned 17, something shifted. Maybe it was his new friend group at school, or maybe he was just being a typical teenager, but he started getting lazy around the house. I'd ask him to vacuum the living room and he'd groan like I asked him to solve world hunger. I figured it was just a phase. Last month, I came home from my double shift at the factory completely exhausted. The sink was overflowing with dishes, there were pizza boxes on the counter from 3 days ago, and his dirty soccer gear was scattered across the kitchen floor. I called him downstairs and asked him to start on the dishes while I showered. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind and said, "That's not really my job though, right? Like, that's more of a woman thing." I stopped dead in my tracks. "Excuse me? Come on, Dad." You know what I mean. My friends' moms do all that stuff. Cleaning, cooking, laundry. It's just how it works. I felt my blood pressure spike. "Lucas, who do you think has been doing all that stuff for the past 9 years?" He shrugged. "Yeah, but that's because there's no woman here. Once I get married, my wife will handle all that." I stared at him for a long moment, trying to figure out where the hell this attitude came from. "And what exactly do you plan to contribute to this marriage?" "I'll work and make money." That's the man's job. That's when I lost it. "Get upstairs and pack a bag. You've got an hour." Wait, what? You heard me. If you think household chores are beneath you because you're a man, then you can go figure out how to be a man somewhere else. He started laughing, thinking I was joking. "Dad, come on. I didn't mean..." "Nope. You said what you said. You think women exist to clean up after you? You think having a wife means having a personal maid? Then you can go find out what the real world thinks about that attitude." His smile dropped when he realized I was serious. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Figure it out. You're almost 18 and apparently you're man enough to have opinions about women's roles. Let's see how man enough you are to take care of yourself." I watched him pack his stuff, and honestly, part of me hoped he'd apologize and take it back. But he just kept muttering about how I was being ridiculous and that he was right. The first 3 days, my house was eerily quiet. I did the dishes, vacuumed, did laundry, and realized how much work he'd actually been avoiding. My neighbor asked where Lucas was, and when I told her what happened, she said I was too harsh. Maybe I was, but I wasn't backing down. On day 4, he texted me asking if he could come home. I asked if he'd changed his mind about household chores being women's work. He said he still thought I overreacted, so I told him he could stay wherever he was. 2 weeks later, he showed up at my door looking rough. His clothes were wrinkled, he had bags under his eyes, and he looked like he hadn't eaten a decent meal in days. "Dad, can we talk?" I let him in and waited. "I've been staying with Jake's family, and his mom made me do chores to earn my keep. When I complained that it wasn't really my job, she laughed and said good luck finding a woman who wants to marry a man-child who can't take care of himself." He sat down heavily on the couch. Then Jake's dad sat me down and explained that partnership means both people contribute to everything. He said any man who thinks housework is beneath him isn't ready to be in an adult relationship. I could see he was struggling with his words. I guess I never really thought about it that way. Like, you've been doing everything for years and I just took it for granted. And I was wrong. I want to come home, but I want to actually help this time. Not because you force me to, but because it's the right thing to do. I made him prove it. For the next month, he lived at home but had to handle all the cleaning, cooking, and laundry while I worked. Every time he complained or tried to slack off, I reminded him that this was supposedly woman's work, so it should be easy for him. By the end of that month, he was exhausted and had a whole new respect for everything I'd been doing. He never again suggested that housework was gendered, and now he's actually teaching his friends how to do their own laundry.